Time for some things I like and then some things that I hate. So last week, I suggested that Carrie Lake would be a bad candidate for Senate in Arizona. And I hold by that because she lost to a wet rag in Katie Hobbs. However, she did have herself a nice moment in Iowa over the weekend. She was asked about whether there are, in fact, two genders. She was milking a cow at the time, and here was her response.
Which one of you is from the New York Times? You know there's only two genders, right?
I just take pictures.
There's only two genders, and they know that in Iowa. I challenge the New York Times reporter and the Washington Post reporter to try to milk a cow and then try to milk a bull and see how that goes.
Okay, I laughed. Okay, other things that I like. So there is a song that has gone completely viral by a Virginia country singer named Oliver Anthony, who's a former factory worker, who's apparently really, really down on his luck, and he was asked to play a song at sort of a local event. And the song that he played is one that he calls Men North of Richmond, which, of course, is a reference to the people who occupy Washington, D.C. And this thing has gone unbelievably viral. I mean, millions and millions of views. Here's what it sounds like.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men north of Richmond.
Okay, so this song obviously has hit a nerve with people because it is, I think, the cry of a lot of people in the United States who are just trying to work a job and make their way in life and feel like there are too many people who have their hand in their pocket, particularly elites in the federal government who believe that their money should go to other people. Some of the lyrics in the song are, Lord, we got folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not pay for your bag of fudge rounds. Fair enough. Fair enough. So he posted a video explaining. He said, things were not good for a lot of people. In some respects, I was one of those people. I'd wasted a lot of nights getting high and getting drunk. I'd sort of gotten to a point in my life where even things I did care about didn't mean anything to me anymore. This isn't a Dr. Phil episode, but I found an outlet in this music, and I started uploading a couple of songs. He said, the universal thing I see is no matter how much effort the working class puts into whatever it is they're doing, they can't quite get ahead because the dollar's not worth enough. They're being overtaxed. I want to be a voice for those people, and not just them, but humans in general. As long as you're above the dirt, you got a fighting chance. So this thing has, again, gone incredibly viral. He says that he is not a right-winger. He says that this is pretty much dead center. He's because he's more isolationist in terms of foreign policy. But he talks about in the last part of the song suicide rates, mental health, depression. He says there's no reason why that sort of stuff should be happening in this country. So John Rich, friend to the Daily Wire, of course, he's offered to produce Oliver's album. And the video is gaining all sorts of traction, obviously, and it should. This is a talented guy. As central banks in countries like China, India, and Australia begin transitioning to a digital currency, the Federal Reserve has been contemplating doing the same thing for the United States. This is super dangerous stuff because a fully digital currency means the government can manipulate everything you do financially. They can track every single purchase you make. Officials could even prohibit you from purchasing certain products or easily freeze or seize part or all of your money. These are just some of the reasons concerned Americans reach out to my friends over at Birch Gold. They want to have a physical asset like gold that's independent of the United States dollar. You can protect your IRA or 401k by diversifying with gold from Birch Gold historically. Gold has been a safe haven in times of high uncertainty. Right now would be one of those times. Learn if gold is right for you. Ask all of your questions by texting Ben to 989898. They'll send you a free info kit on gold. You've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, countless 5-star reviews. I trust Birch Gold to help you diversify into gold. If a central bank digital currency becomes a reality, it'll be nice to have some gold to depend upon. Again, text Ben to 989898 to get started. That is 989898 to get started with my friends over at Birch Gold today. The Ben Shapiro Show is supported by Grand Canyon University, an affordable private Christian university with a vibrant campus in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona that is ranked top 20 in the country according to niche.com. GCU is a missional, Christ-centered university striving to foster a culture of community, giving, and impact. GCU's goal is to help you develop into a servant leader who makes a difference through finding your purpose and fulfilling God's plan. With 330 academic programs and over 270 online as of June 2023, GCU integrates the free market system with a welcoming Christian worldview into your bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University, private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu today. President Trump's presidential run continues. He is facing down, presumably, some sort of indictment that is going to come down either this week or next week. According to the Wall Street Journal, Georgia has become ground zero for exhaustion over the legal drama surrounding Donald Trump and the GOP debate over whether to stick with him in 2024. Georgia, there are still signs that voters have tired of the 2020 election replays and of Trump himself. That kind of Trump fatigue is pervasive in Georgia, according to Republican strategists, which is a serious problem for him in a general election. Right now, the possibility of another indictment looming is pretty obvious. President Trump put out a statement over the weekend going after the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis. He went after her pretty hard, obviously. He suggested that she is corrupt. He suggested that she is driven by politics. Of course, she is. She's a partisan Democrat. But, as these cases stack up, it is going to provide a serious challenge to his ability to actively run a campaign. According to Breitbart.com, Fani Willis is planning to bring multiple witnesses before a grand jury next week as part of her investigation into President Trump. Trump wrote, "I hear that racist Fulton County District Attorney, phony Fani Willis, who weekly presides over one of the deadliest communities in the United States with thousands of murders, violent criminals, and gang members roaming the streets while going untried, free, and untreated with kid gloves, is using a potential indictment of me and other innocent people as a campaign and fundraising con job, all based on a perfect phone call as president challenging election fraud, my duty and right." This would be Trump's fourth indictment in the past 5 months, and of course, it would bleed into the presidential election. Trump was asked whether he'd be taking a plea deal in Georgia, and correctly, he said, no way, man, not a thing that's going to happen.
Is there any chance you take a plea deal in Georgia?
Plea deals. We did nothing wrong. We don't ever take a plea deal.
Yes, sir.
We don't take plea deals. It's a wise guy question.
Are you going to change this?
Mr. Wise Guy. We don't take plea deals because I did nothing wrong. It's called election interference. You know what that is? Because these indictments are brought out by Biden, who can't even put two sentences together. This is Joe Biden, because he can't win the election by himself. He can't win the election based on votes. So what they did is they got the Attorney General to do it. And then you see how stupid they acted yesterday with the appointment of the special counsel.
Okay, so that, of course, is going to be Trump's line all the way through the election. The question is whether that is going to be a winning message in a general election. That's something that Republican voters are going to have to decide. I was talking with some friends over the weekend, and we were all agreeing that the reason that Republicans, many of them love Trump, is because, of course, he was a hand grenade that was thrown into the sort of den of vipers that is American politics. But the question is, what happens if that hand grenade becomes a dud, or what happens if it starts to blow up in your hand? That's something Republicans are going to have to decide. Do they think that Trump is still more of a tool against the left, that he is capable of victory in a general election, or is he a hand grenade that is going to blow up in their hand? Right now, the polls suggest that Republicans are very much on board with the idea that Trump is still the best guy to nominate. The Real Clear Politics polling average has Trump riding very high at 54%. It has Ron DeSantis at 15%. It has Vivek Ramaswamy at 6%, Pence at 5%, Haley at 3%, everyone below that. Now, the polling on Ramaswamy is very weird. Now, as I say, full disclosure, I'm friendly with Vivek. Of course, I'm friendly with many of these candidates, is the truth. But Vivek's polling is super weird because all of the online polls have him at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and all of the phone polls have him at 2, which suggests that these may not be the most reliable polling statistics for Vivek, because he's the only one who you're seeing picking up support right now other than Trump. Trump is actually on a bit of a high right now in terms of his polling numbers. DeSantis has declined in the Real Clear Politics polling average from about 25% in April all the way down to about 15% today. Vivek in the Real Clear Politics polling average has picked up about 3 points, but it's really Trump who's soared during that same period. Trump went from about 45% in the beginning of April to 54% today. Well, that dynamic was clearly on display in Iowa over the weekend. It was the Iowa State Fair, which is this giant, huge fair that happens every 4 years in Iowa. I believe it happens every year in Iowa, but it really, breaks into the open during primary season because everybody goes there hoping to win votes in the Iowa caucuses. Right now, the polling in Iowa is significantly narrower than the polling nationally. The polling in Iowa shows that Donald Trump is still, for sure, in the lead. But his lead over DeSantis is significantly smaller. The last New York Times Siena poll had Trump at 44 and DeSantis at 20, which, of course, is still a big gap. It's a 24-point gap, but that 24-point gap is not a 40-point gap. So that is a fairly significant difference. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.